All
Hey,
right.
man.
What's up? Happy to be here.
Good.
Good. All right. Well, now I'm a little less happy.
I'm going to start this episode a little different today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to ask you if you've ever heard of what this is about.
Sure.
I think it's going to give it away, and I'd rather you be surprised.
I love that as well.
So there's this.
There's nothing I love more. What do you want for your birthday?
Time back. That's a song.
I don't think my wife's going to hurt me, but I saw her think about it. It was hard for me to say with all the 4th of July in my mouth.
Speaking of trauma, let me tell you about my past.
We're not bad husbands. I helped your mom rob a bank.
Things I learned last night.
My wife found this out. She tried to surprise me a lot for my 30th a couple years ago. You know, a long time ago.
Yeah,
We're well into our 30s now.
I did think you were one of my friends the other day, but you're like, so old. I'm like, dang, he got so old.
That sucks. Did you see that? Somebody messaged me on it. I posted a selfie of like, hey, I'm filming my comedy special this week. And someone messaged me and was like, oh, I thought this was my friend Michael. And I thought, dang, he got old. But then I realized it was you. And I was like, you guys don't have to say everything that comes to your head. You know, I read messages.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Dang, he got old. Wow, look how old this guy looks.
My friend is so old.
No, so
so on my
30th, I'm the planner in our relationship.
Yeah.
And so my wife, obviously for my 30th birthday, didn't want me to make the plan. She wanted to surprise me with a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But then she surprised me with us riding bikes around Santa Barbara all day, which was great. But I did not know to pack shorts or a shirt to wear for bike riding.
So you're like biking in jeans.
So that's where it's like that kind of stuff is like, you know, we learned some lessons in our relationship during that trip. It was great. It was fun. I'm not saying that at all. It was a great time.
I know what you're saying. I know exactly.
I just like she learned that there's a line of like I can plan all the stuff, but there's some things that don't have to be a complete and total surprise.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
for sure.
So
cool. Well, this is going to be a complete and total surprise.
Great.
Well, not really, because I'm going to tell you.
If I end up wearing the wrong pants for this, I'm going to be so mad.
The wrong pants for this. I'm telling you right now.
None.
I'm looking at your pants. They are the wrong pants.
Yeah.
Honestly, that should be an out of context intro for I'm looking at your pants. Anyways,
we let Alex decide which out of context was. Yeah, why don't you do your job?
Okay, sorry.
All right, how about you tell the story?
Let me just
I'll
do
do
my
the
job.
funny little bits,
and
Alex will sit over there making judgmental faces the whole time.
Yes, sir. Okay,
and all those people on the other side of the wall will be grieving the loss of their friend. It's
definitely a funeral.
We really don't know how to handle this. We've never been here at the same
shot
time.
An episode next to a
feel
funeral.
really bad about it. I feel really bad about it. We're recording this podcast next to a funeral, and I don't know how to, So we're going to try to be very respectful today and quiet.
It's not going to happen. We're going to try.
Well, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a funeral over there. There's a divorce over here.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get any better than this.
And you know what? That's what we hope our podcast is for you. Put some inspirational music behind it.
Shining light in the dark.
We're just, the world is terrible. There's divorce on this side. There's death on this side. And in the middle of all this stuff, you got a comedy podcast where we never crash out. That's our guarantee.
We cackle.
We never crash out. That's our guarantee.
Everything is good.
I have been. Listen, there was a phase there where our episodes included a lot of crash outs, but I want you to know.
We're trying.
From me personally, I'm not trying not to. I'm telling you right now, I have given up. I'm doing this new thing where I don't care anymore, and it's really helping me not crash out. Because I would every day. I'd be like, oh my gosh, and I'd be like, oh. We should do this different. That would solve this problem. We should do this different. And you know what I just started doing? I don't care anymore. It's privilege.
Yeah. You did send that to me. I sent you a screenshot. We got an email for, I think, an advertising opportunity.
They want us to promote their 5G conference or whatever.
No, it was a Christian cell phone network. The network is a Christian network.
Oh, okay.
What? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, and so I got annoyed, and he was like, I don't care anymore.
For real though. I really, like, as far as like some of this weird stuff that Christians do lately, I don't care anymore. I just go like, no, that's weird.
Yeah, you're being weird.
And I'm not, I view it, I've said this before, I view some of the extremes of American Christianity is a completely different religion than anything I follow or believe in. So it'd be like if you sent me a thing where you're just like, look what these Mormons are doing. All right, they're Mormons. I don't care. Like, cool, good for you. Yeah. I believe something completely different than that.
Yeah.
And so it's like what you do isn't affecting.
It doesn't affect me.
It's not like I'm like, I'm to the point now where I'm not even afraid of being associated with you because it's like, yeah, we're different.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, hey, yeah, make a phone network. I'm
not as emotionally mature as him. I'm still very frustrated about these
when you
things.
get through it, when you turn 32, you got a couple weeks left till your birthday. When you reach the wise age that I'm at, what do you want for your birthday?
I don't know. Time back.
I would love my skin from my 20s. I would love all those moments that I regret. Another chance,
So anyways, let me tell you about this thing we're talking about today.
Sound like the people on this side of the wall.
Speaking of, no, we got to keep going. But do bring the therapist up again later because I got to tell you about something about my therapist.
Sure.
So let me
I got to tell you something about my therapist. Sure. Yeah, love that. It's just so your therapist talks about you that way too. Hey, bring Tim up later. I got to tell you something about him.
So there's this place in London called Hatton Garden. And Hatton Garden is this little district. You can kind of think of it. It's an interesting district. It's not like upscale shops. I was gonna compare it to like
the Plaza. It's kind of like the Branson Landing.
No, I can't really think of what to compare it to because it's not like upscale shops. It's not upscale shops.
Okay.
But there is just like a conglomerate. It's almost like Silicon Valley for jewelers. And so there's a bunch of people who make jewelry and they are like jewel dealers, but they're not jewelry stores. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's like the upper end of the supply chain.
Yeah.
And it's this district that's been around for a long time. In the 70s, there used to be a ton of like armed robberies of these locations. But throughout the 80s, security got a lot better. A lot of those robberies.
So are these like cut jewels, or is this the people you would buy like an uncut diamond from so you could cut it?
Both. Okay. And so they have gold, they have silver, they have jewels,
and
they have
to
diamonds.
be clear, both.
Yes, that means each of the things you just said.
Got it. Yeah. Spell it.
BOTH.
Okay.
And the O is spelled like OL.
The L is silent.
The O is pronounced OL.
You wash your clothes for both these
first
occasions.
of all, no, wash is wrong. It's wash.
Mm-hmm.
But both is how you say it.
Okay.
Both.
Yep.
Gosh, I want to throw up when I say it like that. Anyways, both of those. So this district, there's a lot of people who have...
It's like my diamond guy. I got a diamond guy.
Yeah.
And that's something you'll get when you're rich. And like me. I'm going to sit with my... What is the manosphere?
The manosphere hand thing.
So I got a diamond guy now. No, but when I went to buy the engagement ring...
Yeah.
My wife has an uncut diamond. It's a very unique ring. No one else has anything like it. No, but I was... he was like, I'm going to this conference where I can buy... He goes, it's kind of hard to get an uncut diamond.
Yeah.
He goes, but I'm going to be at this conference where they have them.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds sketchy, but all right.
Yeah. It's like behind a McDonald's. It's not even at a conference hall.
Yeah, it was an uncut diamond and reptile conference. Just freaking.
It's not in a building. It's the parking lot.
I've told that on here before about the BMX team that my manager also represents. Have I mentioned that before?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, we were at the...
Very cool.
It is very cool, but we were at the thing and one of the guys just went next door to a reptile conference and bought a little alligator. And then I went to the management table at this conference and there was a little alligator in a tub under there. And I was like, who did this? And she was like, Cody. And I said, I don't even know who, but that makes sense.
Cody.
I don't know Cody,
but
that sounds like a Cody thing to do.
A Cody thing, yeah.
And also that BMX team is like 5 guys.
Yeah.
Who rode down in a van to that conference together.
Yeah.
And so they had to drive back in the van with an alligator. You know how annoyed I would be? Imagine if we were on tour back in the day. We have our little Ford Econoline, and then you just bought an alligator.
Is this like a full-size gator? Or
No, it's in a tub.
It's a baby gator.
It's a baby gator.
But still, yeah. You got a gator in the van.
And you go to the gas station to get some snacks. Like, hey, will you watch my gator? I guess.
I do like that. I should have done that.
They just had it.
Yeah. I think
very weird.
It's a good thing we didn't have money on tour because I would have bought a lot of useless stuff.
Oh my gosh. Being poor saved us from so many bad decisions. It's crazy, dude. There's so much stuff that I would have done if I could have afforded to do it. Yeah. Oh. And there was a lot of stuff we did do that we couldn't afford, right? Right? Like get married. And couldn't afford that. Paid for it on credit card. And a comedy special. Maxed out a Costco credit card for that. So please watch that when it comes out. I'm not looking at the cameras. I'm looking into the void. No. I promised I wasn't going to crash out.
So he promised. He promised he wouldn't crash out. Just leave in the comments below. Just say you promised in all caps.
You
promised. So in the middle of this district is the Hatton Garden Bank. And the Hatton Garden Bank is significant because at this bank, they have safe deposit boxes.
Yeah.
And a lot of these jewelers.
What's the 8890 thing?
That's the address.
Okay.
A lot of the jewelers in the area, they take their jewels and gems and gold and they store in these safe deposit boxes. They use that
my jewels bank. And my gems and my gold.
And money. And they leave it in the safe deposit box.
Right, of course. What are you supposed to use a safe deposit box for?
Yeah. And so...
Is this a heist?
So...
Nice.
So on... April.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, dude. I love a heist. Okay, great.
So on April 2nd, 2015.
Oh, pretty recent. Okay, I like that.
On April 2nd, 2015, the staff locks up the depository, and they lock it up knowing they're going into Easter weekend. So it's Thursday night. They lock it up at 9 p.m.
And you do have to do something different.
4 days.
So that bunny doesn't come take these jewels.
Watch out for the bunny. And so they lock it up. And they leave, they go home.
Was this a viral video when I was in 8th grade, or was this just a video that my friends and I found? Do you know what I'm talking about, the difference?
Describe it.
Where like you...
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. We all had a video that we watched a billion times when we were like middle school, but I don't know if it was viral or if we just did that.
You grew up and you told someone about it and you're like, oh, let me pull it up. And you pull it up, it's 15,000 views. You're like, oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, but there was a video of a rabbit, a person in a rabbit costume just beating people up. Do you remember this video?
This sounds vague.
Where it was like, what does the Easter Bunny do the rest of the year?
It just beats people up.
And literally like just, I mean.
Tar out of people.
Yes. Like drop like a person on a bike. And it would be like music where it's like peaceful music. A person on a bike. And then it's like yeah. And the bunny drop kicks the person on the bike. Or like like the elevator door.
Was this a commercial?
Elevator's open. No, this was just a YouTube video. This was YouTube before we got on it. You know, we ruined this stuff, dude. Podcasters and content creators ruined the internet. It used to be the best. It was a shot of an elevator opening, empty elevator. Guy gets in right as the door is closing. The bunny is in the elevator and it obliterates him.
Yeah.
You remember this video?
Sounds familiar. Yes, this sounds familiar. I think you're waking up a memory in me.
Yeah.
Wake me up. Wake it up inside. Wake me up inside. Okay, so they're going into the Easter weekend.
That song was written by a cult.
What?
I don't know that, but just thought I'd throw it out there.
Just thought I'd say that and see if it sticks.
I just thought I'd try to start a rumor.
And so shortly after the building is locked up, this group of masked individuals, well, what I should say, a group of individuals approach the building wearing high visibility vests dressed like workers. And the
best way to rob places.
One of them opens up the door, goes to the alarm, and disables the alarm. And then they go into the building. They pry their way into the elevator, and they rappel down the elevator. It's a whole group of them. I think there's 7 of them. I think 6 go inside. One's in a lookout car outside. They rappel down the elevator, and they bring heavy equipment.
Which is cool.
Very cool. Very sick. They rappel down the elevator, go out the elevator into the basement.
It's not like the elevator was turned off.
No, they turned it off. They disabled it.
Okay.
They disabled it so they could rappel down it, which
But that's what I'm saying.
They could have took the elevator.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like that was a part of the plan. That was like, okay, we're gonna rappel down the elevator shaft, and they're like, wait, why?
Because it's
cool.
Because it's like so sick.
Like, oh, you were going to take the elevator? Then they'll know which floor we went to.
I think the reason for it is because they went down the elevator and like the elevator at the bottom of the shaft, there was like a service hallway. And so they need to get to the service hallway, not to the main area that the doors were going to open up to.
Okay.
I think. I don't know for sure, but I think that's what's happened. They get down there, they find the wall that's on the other side of the safe. And they set up this diamond drill. And
they propelled down the elevator shaft with this thing?
Yeah. And
this thing looks like it weighs a lot. For those listening, it's a very big piece of machinery.
Yeah, so this drill is a heavy drill. And the way it's built is
you're picturing a handheld thing that's not what you should be picturing. Yeah, no, this is like
you have to bolt it into the wall.
Right.
So it can be stable. And then it's got a giant, what looks like a silencer.
It looks like you know what it looks like is like picture like a Civil War cannon.
Yeah,
is the size of this thing.
Yeah, it's huge,
right? And then that's what is you turn that and that drills into the wall.
Yeah, and there's a hose attached to it because it needs water, a continuous flow of water to cool it.
Right,
and it's got a diamond tip drill. And what they did is they drilled this series of 3 holes through the wall into the safe. And this is a 20-inch thick concrete wall. So this took hours.
This is crazy.
Here's the thing, though. They got through this wall, and when they got through the wall, something unexpected happened.
There was a giant bunny rabbit inside.
He was waiting for them, and he dove through the hole, drop kicked them, and beat the tar out of all of them.
Vigilante justice. I like the idea that it's Phoenix Jones and the Easter Bunny. You know, and he's wearing a bunny costume, but the sleeves are ripped off, which is sick.
Sick.
And he's jacked, obviously. Easter Bunny, hot.
And so, meanwhile, they're inside here drilling the hole through this wall. And
this takes hours, you said.
Hours. Unbeknownst to them.
And they started at what time did they break in?
They broke in shortly after they locked up.
Okay,
so probably
so
around like 9:30, 10 p.m.
And why is the depository open that late? I'm thinking it would be 5, 6 o'clock.
No, they closed at 9:19. I don't know why it was open that late. I don't know.
They closed it.
Well, they locked up at 9:19. So
Okay,
maybe they closed earlier and security was still there.
Sure.
And then at 9:19 they locked up for the long weekend.
Okay.
And at 12:21 a.m. an alarm.
And this is unsecured at night?
Well, at 12:21 a.m. they broke in and someone disabled the alarm. One of the people.
I know, but it's like not patrolled by somebody. Is what I mean.
No, it's not.
That's weird.
So at 12:21 a.m. An alarm is triggered.
Okay.
Scotland Yard is notified when the alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And they call the security company that manages the store. And security says, we'll go check it out. So security sends one of their officers to go there. And here's a little bit of backstory about their security system. They have a very sensitive security system. And false alarms happen all the time.
Right.
And literally a week before this, a false alarm happened because a literal bug, like flew and landed on one of the sensors and it set off the alarm. And so these are very common. He shows up. It's the night before Good Friday, the middle of the night. I guess technically now it is Good Friday. And he rolls up. He checks the doors. The doors are locked. Peers through the windows. Doesn't see anything. And he just says, it's a false alarm. And he goes home.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, too. I should say, too. They do have a policy as well that security guards aren't permitted when there is an alarm to go in alone. And so he shows up alone. And he's like, I don't see anything. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's a false alarm. I'm just going to head home. I'm not supposed to go inside and look in there. So
right.
I'm just going to, it looks fine. Nothing's broken. Everything's locked up still. So they lock the doors behind them. So he goes home and meanwhile, they're drilling through. They get all the way through. They get through this wall and they have a problem.
And he can't hear the drill, I guess.
No, I guess not. Yeah, it's underground.
I don't know, man. So the other night, it's like the night before my wife's birthday party.
Yeah.
And the birthday party is a big task. So we're up kind of late.
Yeah.
Preparing the last details for this party. Our neighbor is doing a project where they are sanding down the drywall in their bathroom, which is a shared wall.
Yeah.
With our apartment.
Yeah.
And then our other neighbor has rented an industrial carpet cleaning vacuum. And so my wife is on the floor. We're not arguing, but we're definitely like, it's time for bed. You know?
Kind of like
where I'm like, we're sitting here going like, hey, let's finish this tomorrow. And she's like, no, we're going to do this tonight. And she's, getting a little antsy about the party. And so we're arguing a little bit. And then you just hear, and then on this wall, and it was just, we both just sat there like, yeah, we almost fought each other.
Physically, like that bunny.
I saw her, I don't think my wife's going to hurt me, but I saw her grab the knife a little tighter. I saw her think about it.
I
don't think my wife's going to hurt me, but I saw her think about it. That's a good put that in the intro. I like, I think you should put that in the intro. I'll decide which quotes go in there.
I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that.
Oh man.
So they drill all the way through this wall.
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this show, we would love to see you on our Patreon. It's a great way to financially support the show. We don't make money from this. It just helps us to pay the people who do make money from this, like Alex and Robert, our editor, and maybe one day me and Tim.
Maybe one day.
But only if you join.
Only if you join. We can't
We're
get
waiting.
paid.
We can't get paid
until you pay.
We can't feed Tim's kid until you join.
He's hungry. In the arms of an angel.
Genuinely bothered by that. That's crazy.
So they drill all the way through this wall.
Yeah.
And there is.
So what's unexpected?
Well, on the other side of the wall, what they didn't bargain for was the safe deposit box being up against the wall, and it's bolted to the floor and it's bolted to the ceiling. And
so now you got to drill through the safety deposit box.
Well, the drill can't. It's metal. The drill's not breaking through the safety deposit box.
Okay.
Luckily, they thought that there was probably going to be some problems. So they brought a hydraulic battering ram. And so they take this hydraulic battering ram to try to batter ram this thing over. And it is so secure that it breaks the battering ram. And so tension starts to rise, similar to the situation you're talking about. There's dust all over the place from the drill. It's late we're talking early hours of the morning at this point. And so they decide, we need to pack up. We're not going to get this done tonight. We're going to have to come back another night to try to finish this job. And so they leave. They go through all of Good Friday, kind of reconvening, figuring out what they're going to do. 2 people who are a part of the party were like, I don't think this is going to work anymore. We're out. And then the rest of them come back Saturday evening. We're still in the middle of this long weekend. No one's been around.
Oh, yeah.
So they come back Saturday evening. Same plan. Go right through the front door. Their alarm specialist shuts off the alarm. They go through the elevator, rappel down the elevator, and they bring a different set of tools that is capable of knocking this thing over. They knock this thing over. They crawl through the holes. This is obviously a recreation after the fact. They crawl through the hole that they dug, and they ransack the safe deposit box. And this is the scene that they found the next morning, where they broke into, let me get the number right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they broke into a couple hundred of these safe deposit boxes. I don't know exactly how many, but they broke into a couple hundred of these safe deposit boxes, and they made off with about 14 million pounds worth of cash, gold, diamonds, silver.
So about $2 million.
I don't know what 14 million. I mean, it's probably close to 14 million.
No, it's not. The ratio is really bad. The United States is the best. That's what I've been told.
It's about $18 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So better, actually.
Well, I think that's...
I guess, yeah, my bad. I would have gone the other way.
Yeah, I think
I would have gone the other way.
And so on Monday or on Tuesday, after the long weekend, they come back in, and this is the scene that they find. All the stuff's gone.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they check the CCTV. All the cameras have been wiped. Everything's gone. The police come in. They try to start getting DNA. They discover that these criminals had bleached the entire crime scene. And
my gosh!
So it's completely clean. There's nothing here to show any residue of them. And so that day, the chief of police comes out on the news and he says, we think these are very sophisticated career criminals who perhaps were hired by like some large conglomerate to pull off this job.
A composite.
And so they begin this manhunt to try to track down
That's crazy.
who was responsible for this event. And over the course of 24 hours, they start to kind of piece together the story a little bit better. And what they end up being able to trace through a lot of other data that they were able to capture outside of this initial crime scene is that this was done by a group of criminals that have you ever heard of the Bad Grandpas?
No. What? No way.
This is a group of 60 and 70-year-old plus criminals who broke into this bank and pulled off this heist. And it was nearly the perfect crime. They almost got away with it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I love all these guys. Wow.
These guys rappelled down that.
I mean, this is decades of experience, though. You know what I'm saying? This is.
Oh yeah. These guys rappelled down that
Look at
elevator shaft
okay.
with that.
Is this the main guy? Is that why he's on the left?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's like the leader.
Yeah.
Look at the guy
They call him
top,
the governor.
not top middle, but top left.
Yeah.
That guy is gonna do it again. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got his mugshot where he's just like,
He's like, I don't feel bad.
I'm not sorry at all. The only one that's sorry is the one right below him. That guy's sorry. That guy's like, I can't believe we got caught.
Shoved on this.
And then there's the young gun up top
The young gun. Yeah, he is.
with a
way
goatee.
younger than-
And,
is like
they're
20
like,
years
oh
older
yeah,
than
you
these
got
guys.
a goatee. You think you're better than us, you know?
So
And your eyes are too close together, though. That's why you gotta have the goatee. Make it seem like
to
they're
even
further
out your
apart.
weird eyes.
Both your eyes.
So here's the thing. This guy on the left is a guy by the name of Brian Reeder. And
Okay.
Brian is the mastermind of this whole event.
Yeah, dude. And he looks cool.
And here's the thing. This isn't the first heist Brian's pulled.
Of course not. Obviously not.
These are all career criminals.
Yeah. Obviously.
And he was actually known as he did a very similar crime to another Hatton Garden bank in 1971. And in 1971, he spearheaded
so like
this plan.
40 years earlier.
Yes. He spearheaded this
Yeah.
plan that he came up with by reading a short story called The Red-Headed League, which...
Okay.
Let me pull this up. The Red-Headed League. And this was a short story written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It's a Sherlock Holmes, like, extended universe story, short story.
Sure.
And in the short story...
I know who Sir Doyle is.
Okay. So in the short story...
You don't gotta mansplain Sherlock Holmes to me.
In the short story, Sherlock Holmes is trying to solve a crime.
Just so we're clear, I'm Watson. I love the idea.
authoritative
I
about
love
being
the
the
idea
sidekick.
of a kid who's like, "Let's play. I'm Robin."
I'm Robin.
I'm
I'm Robin.
like, okay.
Okay, fine. You can be Robin, I guess. So, in the story,
I'm Ron Weasley. You be Harry Potter.
you're Harry. Fine.
Okay, I kind of wanted to be. I'm Hermione. Oh, don't be weird about it.
Don't be weird about it, bro.
Bro. I'm Hermione. Okay.
Bro, we're 21. We should stop playing Harry
We
Potter.
should stop playing her. Okay. 21's not too old to play Harry Potter.
Okay.
32 is, though. People judge you if you play Harry Potter when you're 32.
So in the Reddit, like, Sherlock Holmes is solving a crime.
And that's why I love the Ren Fair. Because no one judges you.
So Sherlock Holmes is trying to solve a crime in the Reddit.
Sherlock Holmes is trying to solve a crime.
And in
Yeah.
this crime,
Oh, he like actually that, yeah, okay.
so in this story, what
Right.
the criminal does is the criminal has a basement, and from that basement, he drills through the wall of the
course.
basement and tunnels
Like
into
your
the safe.
neighborhood.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Searching for treasure.
And so he says, what if we could do this? And so in
If
1971...
we get rich, by the way, we are going to build like a cul-de-sac where all of our homes are connected.
Yeah.
Through like a dirty tunnel, you know? Like one of those that like looks like a mine, you know? Oh yeah. Gritty.
So in 1971, he plans the burglary of the Lloyd's Bank. And he specifically picks a branch at 185 Baker Street because this branch was a block from the fictional home of Sherlock Holmes.
Of course.
And so he picks
He's such a big fan. I like that.
So he picks this bank, and they, through some other connection, obviously they can't have their name connected to this, but through another connection, they rent 2 doors down a leather goods shop. And in the basement of that leather goods shop, they dig a tunnel underneath the neighboring restaurant.
Yeah.
All the way underneath the neighboring restaurant and up into the safe of this bank. And they planned this whole elaborate thing. They had one of them that went to like check in on a safe deposit, and he brought his umbrella, and using the umbrella in his arm, he measured the whole, like just like he was like kind of like dancing around the safe deposit box while the guy was unlocking everything for him. He measured the whole safe deposit box. So he knew when we dig here, here's where we got to dig to.
So you're just a worker. You're a banker. Guy comes in and goes,
I'd like to get in my box.
May I see my safety deposit box? And you're like, sure. And he's like, okay.
And he comes in with this. Why are you doing that with your umbrella? It's not
I
even
just
rainy
like
today.
to dance.
I like my umbrella though.
I just like to dance. Hey, I've got an idea. Do you want to play Harry Potter? You're like, no. Okay.
And so...
And then you got to go back.
Yeah.
You get into the tunnel.
Yeah.
And he's like, have we made it yet? And he goes, let me see.
I gotta do the whole...
No, we need 4 more feet on this side. Like, what the heck?
I gotta do the whole dance to know. It's the whole routine.
I don't know, dude. It's like,
I have to do the full routine to know.
No.
And so then on Saturday, September 11th, 1971, they finished the tunnel, popped through the floor of the safe, and they made out with $300,000 or 300,000 pounds.
Right.
Which was a pretty good haul. Pulled that through, went through. The way they ended up getting caught, and what's ironic is at 11 p.m., there is a amateur ham radio operator nearby.
We're talking about the Baker Street.
Wow, we're talking about Baker Street.
Okay.
This is 1971. There's an amateur ham radio operator.
Yeah.
Who's hearing some strange stuff on radio. And what he pieces together is that there is a lookout on a rooftop with a walkie-talkie talking to some people who are robbing a bank. And they're talking about the haul.
Fun gag to do, by the way.
On the walkie-talkie.
Just get on random walkie-talkie channels and be like, no, you're clear. Oh, hold on. There's a cop rolling by. Just stand still.
As a bid.
No, you're good. Just
you're good. You're good.
keep moving into the safety deposit box of the bank that we are robbing.
Somebody kill that guy.
Shoot him.
And
Shoot him.
So this guy, shoot him.
Do it.
Good.
You coward.
This is why your mom never loved you.
Hey, speaking of moms, should we do the bit that I told you about the other day?
I don't remember what the
I like this bit where we just make up some phrases and then we have to call people and try to work that phrase into the phone call. I think that's pretty funny.
It is a funny bit.
We can do it later.
Okay.
We can do it in the After the Fiddle.
Okay.
Subscribe to our Patreon for more content. During the After the Fiddle, we're going to call our moms. That's the stuff you should pay us for. We should call each other's moms. Hey, Terry.
Literally never once called my mom out of the blue.
I've called your mom.
No, stop this.
Yes, I have.
Okay, whatever. I don't like this bit.
We
This is
talk
not a
all the
good bit. I'm
time.
not a fan of this. So this guy calls the hammer.
Oh, you're so mad that me and your mom are friends. Oh my gosh, dude. You don't get to dictate who my friends are.
All right, whatever, man. The ham radio operator calls the
Me
police.
and Terry play pickleball together.
The ham radio guy
She's really good.
calls the police and is like, hey,
Your mom owes me $1,000. Because she was in a bind and she was like, I need to call somebody. Who should I call? My trusted best pal, Jaron. That's how close me and your mom are. And you're over here like, no, you're not.
So
I know stuff about your mom that you don't know. I helped your mom rob a bank. I'm giving you so many options to put in the intro, Alex.
He calls
Alex, I'm just intro farming over here.
Intro ranching.
Intro maxing.
He calls the police, and the police are like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, they're just, it's what are you talking about?
They're like, okay, you let them.
Let him. Who cares?
Yeah.
So he gets off the phone with the police, realizing they don't care. And so he
puts on his bunny costume.
He calls Scotland Yard directly and is like, hey, somebody's robbing this bank.
Is there a number to call the FBI?
I think so, yeah. Like the tip line?
Sure.
So he calls Scotland Yard directly and he's like, somebody's robbing a bank. And they're like, which bank? He's like, I don't know. I'm picking them up on radio. And he's like, but I hear him talking about it. And so Scotland Yard goes searching that night. They check 750 banks. And they don't happen to check the one that they're actually robbing.
Wow.
So they get out of there with their haul. They end up managing to track these people down. And so they do serve prison sentences for this.
Okay.
Years after this, the world changes. This type of heist doesn't work anymore because of modern security systems. A lot of these criminals get into some more white collar crime. They start doing like taxation crime, where they will buy gold and then they will sell gold to people. And then instead of paying, they will charge the full rate, including tax, and then they'll just keep the tax and never pay the taxes. That was what these guys started doing. Like, it's just a simple white collar crime. Easier, harder to get caught. Easier, harder to get caught.
Yeah.
But our ringleader of this, what did I say his name was? Brian?
Reader?
Yeah, Reader. Is it Brian? Yeah, Brian Reader. He's sitting in his garden one day, 70 years old, retired, drinking tea. And he's like, man, I miss the good old days.
Sure.
And he's like, we used to do heists. We used to do big things.
Yeah.
And so he starts just kind of dreaming. What would it look like to do one last job?
Sure.
Starts meeting up with all his old crime buddies at the Castle Pub, which is a sick place.
Does look very cool.
I don't know if these are all at one location or the same place.
They're clearly not.
Well, no, what I'm saying, not one location, but the same like chain. It's like a chain.
Oh.
Or if it's like the Castle is just a common name for pubs out there. But every place is sick. They get together, they go to the Castle Pub and they plan this job for 3 years. They're hanging around the pub planning this heist. And obviously they know what they're doing. Like, they have people who had roles. They have someone who cleans the site. They have.
I love the idea that you could just be sitting next. Like, because here's the thing that'll happen, right? Is that you and I would go to the pub and we'd just be sitting there where we see this group of old guys and we're like, man, I hope we're friends like that when we're old. Yeah, dude, that's great.
Heisting.
And they're over there. We don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah,
we don't know
them
that.
all hanging out.
We're thinking that they're just we think that they're just hanging out. And they're over there just like, yes, we'll use the diamond drill, probably gonna propel that. You think we can propel it? Well, I don't know if you can.
Look.
Anyway, yeah, I think we're gonna. They're just teasing each other.
They
while planning to rob millions of pounds.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They planned this whole thing out. They gave each other.
It was hard for me to say with all the 4th of July in my mouth. It was hard for me to say pounds.
4th of July.
I stumbled over the freedom.
So they're planning this whole thing. They have everybody's got specific roles, different things they're going to do. They acquired all the different stuff.
Sure.
And very clean operation. They knew how they were going to do everything.
Yeah.
They had an alarm guy. They had someone who was going to wipe the cameras. They had someone who was going to clean everything. They obviously were wearing gloves, and they knew how they were going to launder all this afterwards. Everything down to meticulous details, even down to, and this is not a joke, they had a schedule where they timed the breaks to take their prostate medication.
Yeah. Okay. So while you're drilling, I'm going to step aside and take my prostate medication, and I've got a heart issue going on. My But also, we should, and everyone make sure you eat enough fiber.
We gotta be good.
Because, we'll need bathroom breaks probably.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing it Good Friday. It's my granddaughter's birthday that night. So during your shift, I'll take a phone call. I love them so
Ironically,
much. Let them get away with it. They're old.
Ironically, it's funny you say that because a guy by the name of Terry Perkins, one of these burglars, celebrated his 67th birthday during the heist.
Well, obviously, we'll eat a cake. We'll do a little thing.
We'll do a little thing.
Oh boy, am I sick. I sure do need Tim Stone's Get Well Quick Trick. And what is it? It's simply chug an entire gallon of orange juice. Wow, I forgot. And then this shirt reminded me. I'm so glad that I have this shirt as a public service announcement, a public health service to other people around me. Do your part. Get this shirt. Shop.TILLN.com.
That's why he was so mad the safe didn't come down. He's like, so this is cutting into my cake time.
Into my birthday. It's my birthday right now, and I can't get into the safe. The safe is ruining my birthday right now.
You only turned 67 once.
Speaking of trauma, let me tell you about my counselor.
How did you you really tried to shove that one in there, huh? That was, I think everybody listening was like, that was a tough one. That was a tough sell. Yeah, but no, go ahead, tell us.
Tough transitions.
I'll just go over here.
Bree and I had a disagreement recently.
Cut the camera to his. Just put his camera on.
I gotta tell you because I want you to. I really want you to make fun of me for this. So Bree and I had a disagreement recently, and we don't have to talk about the whole context of the disagreement, but it did end in apparently. I come off as somebody who is pretty, what's the word?
High strung.
No. No.
Mean. Cruel.
No.
Arrogant.
No.
Insecure.
Yes, but no.
Fat.
Yes, but no.
I'm just guessing all the things you come across as. A good dad.
Yeah.
And an okay son.
No.
Terry called me the other day. Me and your mom were talking. She didn't like that you called your son a parasite in one episode a couple weeks ago. She said she was going to call you. Did she call you after that?
She did. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And then my dad sent me a stand-up comedy clip of
also, yeah, it was Jeff Gaffigan being like, I hate these kids.
I hate these kids. No,
okay, so your wife told you that you come across as
kind of intolerant. She's like, if other people have ideas you disagree with, you're kind of intolerant of those ideas. And I'm like, I disagree. I'm only intolerant if what they think is wrong.
Me and Alex made eye contact the second you said it. Because you do the thing. You do that. Where someone will tell you something and they'll go like, I think this. And your first instinct is to go, no. That's wrong.
Here's the thing. I'm only intolerant of ideas if your idea is wrong. If it's a subjective thing, whatever, you believe whatever you want. Mm-hmm. But if it's an objective reality,
what example of what wrong idea were you guys talking about? No. Don't hold back now, Tim. Don't back off now when the cameras are on. No. Tell us, what were you talking about?
So she says you need to go to counseling.
What were you talking about?
She says in counseling you can bring this up to your counselor and see what she thinks.
You were talking about if poor people were allowed to vote, weren't you?
So I told
you were talking about if poor people were allowed to vote.
I told the whole thing.
You're talking about if we should keep letting people live past 65, weren't you?
Tell the whole story to my therapist. We go through the thing. We talk about it for a while, and then
we go through the thing, the session, the work.
Got to get to the end, and then there's like that long silence.
Yeah, I hate when counselors do that too. They wait for you to talk, and I'm like, I'm paying you. Say something, dude.
My counselor says, I'm just curious.
Do you have a Facebook account named Todd? I'm just.
I just can't stop
I really
thinking about
would
it.
love to
I know
help
we've
you
done
with this
whole thing
intolerance
here,
problem.
but
I know we're in
can't
the middle
stop
of the
thinking
work,
about what if
but
you're
it's
Todd?
it's really kind of messing me up.
Like you might be Todd. And then I have to be like, yes, I do. Now back to me.
All right, now that that's out of the way.
No, she says, I'm just curious what you think in light of this whole conversation about a goal you set at the beginning of this year. And she's like, would you like me to read it to you? And I'm like, yes. And she says, your goal that you stated to me was, I would like to be a little less angry and more accepting of other people's beliefs that are different than me. And she's like, that is one of your goals.
And you're like, I didn't write that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And she's like, no, we wrote this. And you go, you're making it up. No.
No.
That was Todd, wasn't it?
Because here's the thing, like that argument, Brie and I stalemated. I was like, I'm not intolerant at all. You're wrong. And so I came into that session with that energy. And my counselor was like, so what about your goals?
I love that your counselor brought receipts. That's insane.
Yeah. She said something very
What did you
interesting.
say back to that?
I was like, oh shoot. That was the moment I realized. I was like, oh shoot, maybe I do have a problem.
I think the most frustrating thing in this, and Alex, I'm going to ask this, and you're going to tell me that it's not universal, so that's going to suck. But is this universal? It clearly is in our relationships. That I will tell my wife something. We'll have a conversation. You know, she'll open up about something, and I'll say, well, maybe have you thought about it this way? And she'll go, well, no, you know, whatever. And then someone else, anybody else, will say that same exact insight to her. She'll come home. She'll be like, oh, I just realized that it was actually this that I was dealing with. And I said that to her a week ago. Does that happen to you?
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Hey, hey, we're not bad husbands.
Weird.
Sometimes we get worried. That does happen. So he's putting that in the intro. I hate you for that. But no, that's because your wife was just like, sometimes you're intolerant. And so now you'll go home to Brie and be like, okay, in my counseling session, I think, and this is a completely original idea that me and my counselor came to together, and you've never mentioned it to me before, but I think I might be intolerant of other people's ideas and beliefs. And then Brie would go, that's an interesting insight that you've come to.
No, we had that. My counselor and I talked about it a little bit more, and then there was another long pause. She's like,
I said,
so
would you call my wife and tell her that?
No. She says, so what are you thinking right now? I was like, I think Brie's going to think it's really rich when she hears about this goal that I set a year ago.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did.
Because Brie's the type, too. Brie's the type. And you know what? Me and Brie are pretty similar, I feel. Because Brie's the type to, when you tell her that, she goes, I knew it. She does that long I. I told you. That's a really good Brie impersonation. You guys don't know her, but I do.
I think what she did was she went,
or at least I used to.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I've said that before, too. Yep. I've said that a couple
There was
times.
another, though, a really interesting thing. Another part of that same session, same conversation.
That's the part where Alex goes, I've never said yep to my wife.
Another part of that same conversation, same topic. She says, have you ever thought about that it's interesting?
This is your counselor.
Yeah. She's like, have you ever thought about that? It's pretty interesting that you feel this need to influence other people's beliefs, change other people's beliefs when you think they're wrong. And that used to be your job. And I was like, oh, no, I haven't thought about that.
Yeah. Speaking of what used to be your job. Does Alex know this?
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know.
There was a news article that came out this week about the church that Tim used to work at.
No, not the church I used to work at. Not that. The other church with a very similar name in town.
Okay.
You've performed there.
What? Which church?
The Summit Church.
Oh, I thought you said it was
not Summit Park. The
Okay.
Summit Church. Another church very similar.
So, a church in Kansas City found out that one of their staff members is in the Epstein files, and not like mentioned in an email. She was the facility manager in 2018 and 2019, which
of
is
the island, like the facility manager of the
like
island.
worked on the island, was the facility manager.
So crazy.
In 2018, 2019, which, and this is true, is too late.
This is true.
Is we knew.
Yeah, we all knew. And she said,
And just didn't put that on a resume, I guess.
yeah, she covered that up in her resume. She,
you'd have to.
In the article, it said that she put like she was also doing contract work for another church, and that's what she put in that time.
That is insane.
Yeah. She claims that she didn't know about any of it going on. She knew what was happening before, and she said she believed him when he said that he changed after he served time.
Crazy.
But yeah, she's all over the files because like the files are like, oh yeah, she'll book your accommodations while you're here. Here's her contact info.
That's not involved. You know what I'm saying?
So crazy.
That's like, because there's a lot of names that people have been throwing around being like, oh, they're in here. And it's like, you look at the actual document and it's like, literally like Bargatze is in it because,
oh, really?
Yeah, because they had sent a Comedy Cellar list.
Okay,
they were like, hey, there's a show happening and his name is one of the names listed on the performers list.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that.
And it's like, so he's like but he's not like in the file.
He's a part of it. Yeah.
Homegirl is all up in those files, dude.
I think the article said 18,000 mentions.
Which I'm not laughing. I'm not.
That's so crazy.
Not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at the fact that you work at the church and someone who on staff finds that out.
That's so crazy.
Insane.
Crazy.
So anyway.
So she's been removed from staff.
Yeah, the church is doing all the right stuff. We're not
handling it. Yeah. That wasn't the church that did that though.
But I mean, like, and here's the thing that I get upset by, okay, is that you can have that on your resume and still get a job.
Well, that wasn't on her resume. She left it off.
But I mean, like, you can have, like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. That is actually crazy.
So anyway, these dudes, the reason they can't get jobs is because they've been robbers their whole life.
Yeah.
We spent 10 minutes on your counselor.
It was a funny bit.
What was the thing that you're intolerant about, though?
We could talk about it later. It's nothing we need to talk about here.
Straight marriages just freak me out.
Straight marriages freak me out.
I hate it.
So these guys literally came out of retirement to do this one last job. But here's the thing.
This is a movie, right? One last job where they go, all right, guys. This is Ocean 72.
Ocean 72. So the problem, though, is these guys were experts.
Yeah.
In the 70s. And the world has changed.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that they did.
Oh, this is the reason they got caught was because they didn't account for.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they did that in the 70s would have been enough.
Sure.
For example, they wiped all the cameras, but they didn't realize that all of these were also backing up immediately to the cloud.
Oh.
So they wiped all the local storage, but we have all the security camera footage.
Oh, dang.
Them inside the building.
Yeah, that's kind of...
they also didn't account for the fact that everywhere you go
is cameras.
Everywhere is cameras.
Yeah.
And so their lookout...
So they just go to the pub in their full yellow stuff afterward?
Their lookout was sitting outside in his very recognizable white Mercedes and then driving all around town in his very recognizable white Mercedes. And they have an entire map of everywhere he's ever been because they can pull these files. Same for their van. Very recognizable van.
And I'm not trying to side with the robbers here. I hate this, actually. I hate that we live in a world where you can't do anything without this happening.
Can't do any crime.
Yeah. No. That's not what I'm saying. I am not saying that.
I'm not saying, but it does suck that you can't get away with crime.
But it does suck you can't get away with crime.
They also, all of them, didn't have any burner phones. They used their personal cell phones and were just texting each other about the job all the time. One of them actually didn't get arrested with the first group initially. His son did because he didn't have a phone and he used his son's phone to text everybody. And so his son got arrested. And then they found out, they're like, oh, I let my dad borrow my phone sometimes because he's too old. He doesn't have a phone. And so he texts his friends.
He's so old, he doesn't have a phone.
And so.
Now, here's what these guys could do.
What?
What?
What could they do? Are you going to give
Where am I?
Oh my gosh. Oh, just be old.
That's what I'm saying. You can just be like,
I don't know what
you can
you're
just be
talking
like,
about. I have no I am not aware of my surroundings.
hey, listen, I got to get,
I need my pills.
and they're like, no, sit down.
They also did all of their planning on their personal computers, and they didn't even turn on private browsing. They just they got their computers and all the browsing security of them shopping for these drills and these hydraulic battlegrams.
They didn't even use DuckDuckGo either.
They just completely just searched all this stuff up. And so this group of 7 men got caught pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The government was able to track them down because they weren't aware of all the technological things that could get them got in this era.
Yeah.
Except for one guy. They all talked about this one guy that they called Basil. And
which the name said like that sounds cool at first glance, right? Basil. But then it's like,
why is he called Basil?
garlic.
And Basil managed to elude the police because his only role was to shut down the alarm. And he was the alarm expert. He showed up and he supplied them with what they needed to shut down the alarm. He got out of there. And so he didn't actually get, his face was never caught on the cameras.
Okay.
He was smart enough to put himself in a situation.
He shows up full ski mask and everything. And they're like, why are you dressed like that? Oh, what do you think? What an idiot.
What an idiot.
As them propelling down.
Oh, my hip. Oh, my hip. One of them, it's funny you do this because one of them actually
we actually caught these guys because all next door, someone called in and said, I hear a lot of loud grunting next door. Speaking of grunting, guy at my gym the other day, I walked in. This guy, me and him alone in the gym. This guy has 3 benches. He's on 2 different machines, towels everywhere.
Yeah.
And not doing anything that's actually going to help him. He's old. But he is really putting in the everything he picks
He's preparing
up.
for his bank robbery.
Loudly. It sounds like you telling a story. Dude, and I could not get my music loud enough. He just, it was almost like I turned it up and he was like,
he's like leaning over your shoulder.
Yeah, so that's how they got caught.
Yeah, so, but Basil, he managed to get in and out of there without getting caught, without getting captured on any of the cameras or anything like that. And he actually evaded arrest for 3 years. All these guys got arrested in 2015, shortly after the event.
Okay.
He didn't get arrested until 2018. And the reason why it took him so long to track him down is because this man lives off the grid in London. He doesn't have a bank account.
Sick.
Doesn't have a bank account, doesn't pay taxes, pays for cash for everything, including his flat. Nothing he does is traceable because he knows this. He doesn't have a phone. He doesn't have any technology. They ended up tracking him down. He was the alarm specialist. This is Basil. This is the guy.
I like him. He looks like a normal white guy in his 50s.
Yeah, he's young.
He's wearing literally a button-up shirt with a green jacket over it. Like, this guy volunteers at a church somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Or it looks like he does anyway. He's got his eyes aren't completely in sync. I like that about him. You know what I'm talking about?
Eyes aren't completely in sync.
Yeah, look at that one.
I know what you mean.
That's a little out there.
Yeah, I can see it. But
Yeah.
it's a funny way to say that.
I know. That's why I said it that way. I'm trying to do comedy over here, buddy.
So
It's a funny way to say it. Yeah, everything I say is the funny way to say it.
They all go to court.
Everything I do is funny.
One of them tries to get a letter.
Thanks for pushing through, buddy. I appreciate that about you. You're looking at the clock being like, wow, this episode's getting really long. I shouldn't have done that whole thing about my counselor in the middle. So now I'm going to tell the rest of the story, but I'm over here saying funny stuff. I'm actually not saying funny stuff. I'm saying normal stuff in a funny way.
Stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the one of them tries to get a lighter sentence.
All right, fiddle off.
Get a lighter sentence. So he tells.
Do that in the middle of the story.
He starts telling.
He's trying to get a lighter sentence.
He's trying to get a lighter sentence.
So he rats out Basil.
No. What he does instead, he's like, I'll show you where I hid everything. Because they all took their cut and they hid him in places.
Gotcha.
He's like, I hid a bunch of stuff in the cemetery. And so he takes them to where he hid some stuff, dug it up in the cemetery. And so there's like a couple $100,000 worth of things that he
Sure.
hid in the cemetery. And the police are like, after he leaves, the police are like, let's dig up the rest of the cemetery and see if he's lying. And they found a lot of bodies, but no, they did find.
Oh
a
my
lot
gosh!
more.
Look at all these dead people.
You killed like
we
300
pinned we pinned these guys for murder. We found all these bodies buried, and you're like, yeah, that's where they would be.
So
And some of them burned.
What?
Monsters. Cremated?
Oh, okay. And so they ended up finding another cache that he had hidden in the cemetery that he didn't tell him about. So he didn't actually get his sentence shortened at all. But what's interesting is the judge that presided over this case found that the value of the amount of stuff that they stole would typically pull a 20-ish year sentence.
Okay.
But he said,
these guys are old.
Yeah, he's like, no, you're gonna make it that long. And so he's like, so I'm going to commune your sentence a little bit, so that way if you had done this when you were younger, it's a similar amount of life that you'd be spending. And so they all got roughly 8-year sentences. So that way they would spend their time and then get out before they died, was the judge's idea.
That's crazy.
And so one of them ended up actually passing away in prison, but the rest of them were able to serve their sentence and then get out recently from this. And so now they're back in retirement.
Sure.
But this was their one last job.
How did Basil get caught?
Oh, so it's interesting. A couple other details I guess I forgot to tell you. The police, after they figured out it was these guys pretty early.
Right.
But they waited a couple weeks to put together the web of everybody who was involved to arrest anybody. And in that time, they had bugged a bunch of their cars. And they also found that they hung out at this pub all the time.
Got it.
And so they got the security camera footage at this pub. And there's too much noise in the pub, so they couldn't hear what they were saying, but they got lip reading specialists to read their lips and figure out what they were saying in there. And so what they found is that they were hanging out at this pub.
Which I can also do, by the way.
He's saying purple. Green.
Green.
Lighter green.
That guy's on the phone with Tim's mom.
So they see that they are both in their cars and at this pub constantly bragging about this heist.
Right.
Not just to each other, like to other people. And there's a situation where they see...
you know what we did, huh?
There's a situation where...
We got away with it, too.
They mime one of the guys, and they can see him clearly going, boom! And then, like, miming down the thing falling over in the case when they knocked it over. And so they're, like, bragging in this pub about that they got away with it. Because to them,
crazy.
They did. Like, they got in, they got the money out, they hit all the stuff, and they are hanging out in the pub, celebrating their spoils. They got their one last job done. The police are just watching, and they're trying to gather enough data. So they know about this Basil, and they have information about him, but they're not able to track him down. It takes them years to actually track him down. So they know enough about him to know how to find him.
Okay.
But it takes years for them to actually find him, if that makes sense. They waited for these guys. They had planned this kind of handoff where they were going to get together and they were all going to split everything up and move it to where they were going to go launder all this stuff. And the police just waited for that handoff, and they sat out there, waited for them to do it, and then they swarmed them and arrested all of them. And so these guys thought it was weeks. They thought they got away with it. They waited for it to cool off, and then the police got them, and they had no idea. And the only reason it happened is because they weren't aware of
because they didn't know how stuff worked.
How technology has advanced. But literally only a couple years after this, in 2018, they released a movie, The King of Thieves, which is this story.
Okay.
And this is actually a shot from
Michael
the movie.
Caine. That makes sense.
Like they did.
Wait, who else is in it? Go back. Oh, okay.
I can't read this.
Michael Caine's the main guy.
Yeah. And so it's literally this exact story. And I remember this coming out. I think I actually saw it, but it is a true story. That's exactly what happened. But yeah, that's these guys that came out of retirement to do this. It worked really well until it didn't. Yeah.
That's crazy.
The Hatton Garden Heist, or as I like to call them, the bad grandpas.
The bad grandpas.
Yeah.
I love that.
Incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of my favorite heists ever.
Yeah. And what I love most is that, all these guys seem like the kind of guys who play games on their phones full volume. And because they don't know how to turn it off. Especially bottom right, that guy, it terrorizes people in public. Just full volume, slot machines. His favorite one is one where he's fiddling off.
Oh, there we go.
You know? Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Things I Learned Last Night. If you liked it, you want another episode, we did one called DB Tuber, which is a bank robbery where he also dressed as like a construction worker, but then he hired like 30 other people to show up dressed as construction workers and blended in, robbed the bank, and then left.
Why are there so many construction workers in this bank?
It was really fun. So it was a great episode, really funny. And if you want next week's episode, something that's not already out, you can join us on Patreon. That's a great way to help fund the show, help grow the show. But the easiest and freest way to help grow the show is to tell your friends about it. Please share us on social. Go follow us. Go interact with the posts online. That really, really helps us. And if you want the show to keep happening, please do that. And if you don't want the show to keep happening, then just keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Because we'll quit eventually.
And if you want to watch us talk to our moms on the phone, then you join us on Patreon.
Yeah. That's one of the Patreon benefits, is that you get all the communications between me and my mom.
You get transcripts of every phone call between us and her mom.
You can learn about my grandma punched someone at the nursing home the other day. It's a real thing that happened.
That is the real thing.
All right. See you next week.